There's David.
Where's who? You're muted, sir. We can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, good. All right. Thank you.
Oh, good to see you.
Oh, with a minute to spare.
Lori Wagner, are you here?
I am. And I will mute myself now then.
Which are you calling user 4, it looks like? I don't know if you have it on screen as well.
No.
Looks like Tim has showed up on my list.
Yep, there he is. And it's 9:30.
Shall we start?
Let's start.
Next call for the Board of Zoning Appeals on Monday, August 17th. Mrs. Kukla,
Would you like me to call the roll, Madam Chair?
please.
Ms. Barnes? I don't see her name yet. Ms. Barnes? Ms. Faith?
Here.
Ms. Bruce?
Here.
Mr. Donovan?
Here.
And Mrs. Johnson?
Here.
We have a quorum, Mrs. Johnson.
That's good. Let's move it right along.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Liz Kukla. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I'm going to read the preamble for this hearing this morning, August 17th. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law under COVID-19 emergency declaration, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to any conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or the facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We have provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak on a particular case via our website and email. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Nope. Do we have any postponement? No postponements today. Okay, moving right over.
Madam Chair, we do have a postponement that was previously postponed last week. It's calendar number 20-45, 4700 Lorraine Avenue. That one was postponed to September 14th last week. So again, that's calendar 20-45. That's 4700 Lorraine Avenue. That's at the end of the agenda. That one will not be heard today.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Ms. Faith.
John Fraser, owner, proposes to erect a two-story single-family residence with bay-attached garage in a and one-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record.
Thank you very much. Mr. Donovan?
Will everyone for this case, please raise your right hand. I'm going to read a statement. At the end of that statement, if you wish to give testimony, your response is, I do, and tell us your name. Here we go. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and but the truth?
I do.
Your name? Your name?
David Cotton.
No, Mr. Cotton, I believe this is not your case. This is Marcella.
Marcella.
Oh, sorry.
I think we have a Lee Luxembourg for this case.
Not here?
You're muted, sir.
All right. This is Lee Luxembourg.
I do is what you want to say here?
I do.
Okay, anyone else for this case? Hearing none, let's move forward.
Okay, the history of the property, please, Mrs. Kukla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We should also note for the record first that Ms. Barnes has joined us.
Oh, good, welcome.
So, Madam Chair, the history for Marcella is that there's been no zoning change since 1929. In the records room, I found that in 1920, a permit was issued to erect a one-story garage. In 1977, a permit was issued to erect a church and hard surface a parking lot. However, there was a note on this specific permit that stated that this was voided in 1978. The parcel is vacant, so it's possible that the church was never erected because I did not find any indication or any permits showing that the building has been demolished. There are no variances on file. And then in the more recent history, I found that in 1999, a permit was issued to erect a tent temporarily, and the tent was a 20 by 30 tent. And that's all that I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. The legal standard, Ms. Wagner?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting an area variance from the garage placement and screening requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. The spokesperson, Maurice, is going to be Luxembourg?
It appears to be.
Okay. Hello,
Hello?
Mr. Luxembourg or Miss?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell us, and who are you? Are you the owner?
No, ma'am. I am the representative of the builder. Ms. Fraser asked me to be on this call.
Do we have a letter from the owner that says you have the right to represent them?
I do not.
Well, we're going to hear the case, but we would need one before we ratify any decision.
All right.
Okay, so tell us exactly what they'd like to do.
Shanae Fraser would like to build a new two-story residence on the property on Marcella Road. Particular house that she's chosen does have a front garage. The way the house is designed, the garage is integral to the design of the house, and we cannot move the garage to the back of the house, or we can't take it off because there's living space above the garage, and it would leave a gap where that garage had been. There's also not enough side on the sidelines in order to do a side garage. Where we could do a rear load garage at that point.
There's going to be living space above that garage?
Above half of the garage, yes. The bedrooms extend to about over half of the garage.
There's no windows. There's one little round one. Yeah, I see that there's plenty in the area. Yeah, Maurice, City of Cleveland Planning, is there anyone else from planning here?
Just me, Madam Chair. We do not support this variance. There are no front-loaded garages on Marcella Road, not in the immediate neighborhood. If you look at the pictures, these are all the houses that are adjacent to the proposed house. There simply are no garages on Marcella, and you can see here on the aerial, these are all rear-loaded garages. It's an extremely wide and deep lot. We don't see what the practical difficulty is to require a variance for this property. The councilman does support the variance, however. I will get to the, I don't know where these pictures came from. They're saying they're within the surrounding area, but they're not within the block of Marcella where the house is being located. They've even submitted this picture here, which is Brazil and Neff, which is close by, and you can see there's no front-loaded garages there either. That's the size of the lot.
It's very deep, yeah.
It's wide and deep. There's plenty of room.
Is this a package? Is this like a pre-made package house?
I think it's Mr. Luxembourg would have to respond to that, but I think so.
Stick-built house. Also, I have the owner on my cell phone through speaker. She's not able to, you're not able to hear her, but she is on the call.
She'd have to get sworn in. You'd have to swear her in.
Shanae, I think they have to swear you in.
Okay, I'm looking for the response, I do, and your name. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Your name? All right. So city planning has just said that they do not endorse this variance because the lot is both long and wide. It seems that you'd be able to fit a garage in the rear portion of the lot. Is that correct, Maurice?
That's what we're saying.
There are no other homes on Marcella that have front-loaded garages. I don't know where these other pictures are from that they're.
They didn't identify them. I don't know either. They're not on Marcella.
Okay, thank you.
You can see from this aerial view, if you look closely, there's no front-loaded garages on that street.
I don't know what she's.
Yeah, I have no idea what she just said. Madam Chair, you have a question. Is to the appellant or to the builder, is it that the appellant really wants the garage to be attached? And is that why some reason it can't be moved to the rear of the property?
Maybe Mr. Luxembourg could answer the question.
That's not working. That's cell phone.
Right. Let me try to answer that. What Ms. Fraser is saying is that our company is a stick-built company. We build houses according to floor plans. We don't build houses that have detached garages. All of our houses are attached garages. We don't have any floor plans that are designed to be a rear load garage. So we don't have anything that would work on this property with either a detached garage or the garage to be pulled into from the backside of the house. We can't change this floor plan because there's living space above the garage and it wouldn't support the upstairs portion of the bedrooms.
Maurice, has this been through any previous review from city planning? Or
yes, it has been through the HDRS committee, and they disapproved the plans for the same reason that we do not support front-loaded garages. Yeah, as you know, because of the recent ordinance that was passed, and this is one of the lots that there's absolutely no physical reason why it could not be either rear loaded or detached and put in the back of the lot. The fact that that particular company does not, make houses without front loaded garages is unfortunate, but I'm sure that there are plenty of other companies out there that do that, as you know.
Any other questions, board?
I have Ms.
Madam
Fraser.
Chair,
Ms. Faith has her hand up, I see.
to Maurice, could you tell me what the space is at the rear of the lot? Does it fall off? Do we have a topographical change there? Or is it an alley or?
Well, as you can see from this plan, it's relatively flat until you get back to the creek back there.
Okay, so it's a creek bed.
But this is the house up here. Yeah, Mr. Luxembourg wants to make another comment.
I have Ms. Fraser's father on speaker. He would like to be sworn in and make a statement.
All right, here we go. Although it's not proven to be a very easy to understand connection. Can you hear me? Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth? And your name, sir? Your name? Maybe we should just have these other two witnesses called directly into the system rather than what we're doing here.
Can you give them a number to call in?
Sure, I did send Ms. Fraser a number to call, and the same thing that you received. Liz, can you send them that information?
I can send it to Ms. Fraser. I don't have the other person's name.
She does.
Okay, I'll send it.
Could we go to the next case and allow them some time to get that hooked into the system while we do another case?
Excellent idea, Mr. Donovan. I was going to suggest the same thing.
Thank you very much. We'll put you on hold. Ms. Faith, calendar 20-100.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Calendar number 20-100 at 4523 West 158th Street. David Cotton, owner, proposes to erect a 30-foot by 32-foot, one-story frame gable detached garage in an E1 residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record.
Thank you very much. Tim?
Would everyone for this case kindly raise your right hand? I'm looking for a response that says I do with your name. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do, David Cotton.
Is there anyone else for this case?
I do, Adam Davenport.
Okay. Anyone else? Appears not.
Okay, thank you very much, Tim. History of the property, please, Mrs. Kukla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In the records room, I found a permit was issued in 1954 to erect a one-family dwelling. 1958, a permit was issued to erect a private garage. And that's all that I have from the records room for that. And then in the more recent history, I found that a permit was issued in 2019 to vinyl side the property, update the bath and tub, and replace and remove the windows. I'm sorry, the replacement of the windows took place in 2007. And that's all that I have that's relevant, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Building to the Law Department, Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting an area variance from the accessory building maximum floor area requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Cotton, tell us exactly what you'd like to do and why.
I would just like to build a garage that can hold my vehicles. I just retired, and I have a number of cars. I have three cars, a motorcycle, and a truck, and it just looks bad with a driveway full of cars. And I would like to have a place where I can store my cars, because I did move there and downsize from where I used to live, and I plan on doing some traveling in the winter. And lately, I've had people break into my cars. Had that happen twice. So I like to store them when I'm not at home. And I have some nice cars. I have a Mercedes, I have a Land Rover, I have a Harley, I have a truck, and I have a classic car, a classic 71 Mustang that I like to get out of the elements, the weather. And I plan on not going into the road there, but move it over a little bit further behind the house. And as you can see, I did a lot of work to the house, and the garage is just accent the whole property.
Okay. You're going to be able to store everything in this garage?
No, not everything. No.
What's going to be left out?
Probably the truck. I use the truck in the winter, and probably the Land Rover, but I do need to store the Mercedes and the 71 Mustang and my Harley Davidson.
You're parked on a piece of grass, it looks like.
Yeah. And grass tends to hold a lot of moisture, and it rusts the bottom of your cars, and then I have to continually move them to cut the grass. So
He shouldn't be parking on it, period.
Right, absolutely.
But you do owe that, like that's part of your parcel.
Well, I take care of it. Yes.
Yeah, so you don't own it.
It seems to be was once a road or something, but I do take care of it. I cut the grass, I keep it maintained, keep it clear, and the way the garage is, I don't know if you have the drawings, but the garage stays on my property line. So so that area is always clear. I do have a door in the back where, like, I have two lawn tractors where I can bring them in the back without moving the cars. One tractor is to cut the grass, and the other one is to push snow. So I keep my driveway and my sidewalk clear.
Lori, City of Cleveland Planning.
We do have Adam Davenport. I didn't know if he wanted to make any comments.
Yes, so I'd like to hear from him.
This is Adam. Thank you. We're happy that the owner is building a new garage to more comply with parking vehicles actually on the driveway. I'm unsure if that is an old right of way next to this owner's house, but obviously the goal, and I'm sure the neighbor's preference as well, would be to park all the vehicles on the driveway. So and the garage conforms to the zoning code with setbacks, just not area. Thank you.
Thank you. I see we have a letter from the Bel Air Puritas Development Corporation.
as
And
well
to
as the councilman.
Councilman, yeah, Brian Casey. Questions, board?
Madam Chair, could we just see the photograph of the aerial view, please? So is the existing garage,
Yeah, that's a,
yeah, yes? Okay.
just talking to me, ma'am?
Yes, Mr. Cotton, is the
Yeah,
existing
yes.
garage being demolished?
Yes, I have a existing one-car garage there, and I have a little shed in the back.
Okay. And is the shed going to be removed or is it remaining?
It'll probably be removed.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
with enough room. Yeah.
Okay. Madam Chair, I'll make a motion if you're ready for that.
Unless somebody else has any comments or questions? Go right ahead, Ms. Faith.
Okay. On case number 20-100, it's 4523 West 28th, given the full support of the councilman, the CDC, and city planning, and having reviewed the plans and discussed the demolition of the existing garage with Mr. Cotton, I move that we go ahead and approve this variance.
I'd like to put a little addendum in there that there'll be no parking on that grassed area. Everything has to be parked on the cement driveway.
So we will add to the motion that the what appears to be an old right-of-way will no longer be used for parking, and that area that Mr. Cotton already maintains will be seeded and remain as a grassed area.
Thank you.
I second, Kelly.
Okay.
I'd like to ask a question.
Mr. Cotton.
Is there any way I can improve that little grass area? Maybe put some gravel there instead of the grass.
You can cement it or asphalt it.
Oh, okay, okay. But other than that, just leave it as grass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, Madam Chair, Maurice Rowland, City Planning, if that's city right of way, I'm not sure what you would legally be able to do with that property. You might want to talk to the councilman about having that, having it abandoned and the right of way abandoned and split between the two neighboring property owners. If the right of way is not being used anymore, which I think you can tell from the aerial that it isn't.
Right, there's a house, a yard directly behind me. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we have a motion. We have a second. Call the roll.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Calendar 20-100 is granted. The board will ratify it next week, and we will send you a letter.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Madam Chair, do we have the first case?
They ready to? On the
Mr.
line?
Luxembourg, do we have?
I believe Shanae and her father should be on the phone now.
Excellent.
Anybody here?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Let's swear them in again.
Okay.
The two, hopefully both the owner and her father. I will make a statement. Your response is I do with your name. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Your names?
Shanae Frazier.
Tyrone Frazier.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Now, we'd like to hear what you had to say before because it was very difficult for us.
Okay, my name is Tyrone Frazier. I am Shanae's dad.
Okay.
I bought that property almost 25, 30 years ago. One of the reasons I bought the property is because me and my mom was going to build a house on it, and the street was unique. What was unique about the street, it was different. Each house had a different setback. Some of the houses got 2 houses on the same piece of property and so forth. So recently I got sick. I got cancer. So I awarded the property to my daughter to carry on my project. And she said, Dad, I'll pick up the ball and I'll build a house there. So, but now recently you guys have changed the variance where you have to have a garage, detached garage when everybody's building houses with attached garages, which I think sort of makes that a little bit outdated and it hurts the people going forward. We're not trying to take away from the beauty of the street. We're trying to improve the beauty of the street by building a house in Cleveland. My mom told me years ago, never leave the city of Cleveland. And I haven't left the city of Cleveland, and we're trying to improve. We even have the councilman on board with this and so forth. And his house is within sight of the property. And he's chopping at the bit for somebody to put something nice up there. Yeah, and he has a front garage. Nobody has any property with a real garage anymore. And right now, with me buying the property 30 years ago, there should be some sort of grandfather clause in there. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you guys. And I'm like, wow, here's somebody that's trying to help the city and not hinder the city. So would you guys please, please help us before I expire and leave here to see that she can get this done? It's a unique piece of property. And you guys just passed this variance.
Did we hear from the councilman, Maurice? Or Lee?
I put up his email here at the end. Mr. Luxembourg has his hand raised.
Okay, Mr. Luxembourg, while we're getting the,
I'm sorry, it shouldn't have been. I apologize.
oh,
And here's the councilman's support
okay,
letter.
thank you. It's for new housing. I've talked with. No issue with the garage.
Adam and Maurice, this is a fresh ordinance, shall we say?
It's
Only
I
changes.
think it's 2 years old now.
Okay. And what was the stimulus that brought about the need to change the language in the zoning code to prohibit front end loaded garages?
We just feel that the garages with front-loaded garages, you've got it's more auto-oriented. Many people leave their doors open on their garage doors, and they're out in the front. And as you know, if you've got a front-loaded garage, people are parking their cars in front of their driveway or in front of their garage. So now you've got cars parked in the setback. So removing all of that to the back, which is more traditional in the city of Cleveland, and that's what we've been approving, as you know.
Yeah. And I also know that I think some part of the examples that helped drive the decision were in neighborhoods and on streets that were very busy.
Correct.
Bridge or Franklin, I remember it was one case where there was a whole row of these garages, and at the same time we were trying to create a pedestrian atmosphere, which seemed to work against that goal.
Correct.
So it's very understandable why that decision is made in that environment. The question I have is, given the testimony just given to us, this appears to be a street that I don't think it has a lot of traffic. I might be wrong, but it may be a different circumstance.
Well, as you can see, first of all, as Matthew Moss, our neighborhood planner, has typed in the chat, not having front-loaded garages has been in our design guidelines since the 1990s. And we simply passed the law 2 years ago to codify what's been in our design guidelines for the past 30 years now. And as you can see, this street has no front-loaded garages. They're deep front lawns. There's no front-loaded garage you can see in this aerial. There are other houses, maybe, I don't know where those other pictures are from. And as you know, There are no front-loaded garages across the street, sir.
Yeah, they just built a new complex across the street.
Off of Lakeshore.
Off of Lakeshore. It's no more than 5 houses away from from the property.
And so
Sir, I have an aerial 5 houses away right here on the screen right now, and there are no front-loaded garages.
Okay, well, look at Kenny King's. You'll see if they're right across the street on Lakeshore Boulevard. They just built a new condos right across the street.
Lakeshore Boulevard is about a half a mile to a mile away from here.
No, that's right across the street. That's at the end of Lakeshore Boulevard. That's about 5 houses away.
And also Marcella is actually like the guy was talking. It is not a busy street at all. Where that lot would be at is literally a house away from the corner. And again, it's not a main street at all.
We're not trying to deface the street. We're really trying to help the street. Trust me, we're trying to put up something nice there. And you guys can see the plan. We went around the neighborhood, took pictures of the houses on the next street over. The councilman got a front loaded garage and so forth. Like I say, the house that you're looking at now, they got like a 6-car garage in the backyard. I've been on this street for years cutting the grass just about once a week or twice a week and so forth. Each one of these pieces of property is different. That's the house next door to the property right there. It's got loaded, the old style garages. That actually used to be a horse farm. And it's got the old houses in the back. Nobody's doing that.
It's going to be a tough call. Board, any questions?
Mr. Luxembourg?
Go ahead, Faith.
Thank you. Mr. Luxembourg, you are the builder or the designer of this building?
I am the builder.
Okay, so you have a design build company then, correct? And how many houses do you build a year? Okay. And have you built in the city of Cleveland before?
Well, it's been a while back, but we have.
Okay. So my question to you, sir, is that if you were approached by this client to develop plans, do you have set plans that you allow the client to choose from, or are you full custom design?
No, we do not full custom design. We have a set plans, about 25 or 30 plans for the folks to choose from.
Folks to choose from. And as you stated previously, none of the plans have detached garages. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So were you aware of the ordinances for the city of Cleveland for detached garages?
I was not aware of that until we got the letter from the zoning department denying it.
All right. So I think it's unfortunate, however, that it seems to me that, perhaps you didn't do your due diligence just signing a contract with your clients and allowing them to select a design that isn't in compliance with the ordinances for the city. So I think perhaps that is what brings us here today, is that, they've selected a house house plans that, that aren't in accordance with the ordinances. So I take issue with the fact that, unfortunately, they're this far along in the process, and we're having discussions now about the house not being able to be sited on the land properly because of the garage issue.
Well, if I may, as far as due diligence, back in February of this year, I did call the city of Cleveland and I spoke to the following people: Naveed Hussein, Lisa Ray, Rodney Marco, Shalonda Watley. I spoke to each of those people and got all of the information that I thought I needed in order to build in the city of Cleveland. And nobody at any time, none of those four, told me that we had to have a rear load or detached garage.
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask, did you explain to them that you represent a company that only builds houses with front-loaded garages?
I did not bring that to their attention, no.
Okay.
That's kind of a key point.
Yeah, that's an oversight for sure.
We have been at this for almost a year. And again, due to COVID back in March, that has put a huge damper on things. And hopefully we probably would have known things, you know, a bit ahead of time, but due to COVID and the city hall being closed, now here in August, we're just now finding out more information about, you know, the variance or whatnot. But my plea is, with my dad purchasing this land so long ago and this variance being just 2 years, is there any way at all possible that it could be granted as a grandfather?
No.
Okay, this is Mr. Frazier again. What type of a structure would you guys allow? An attached garage in the back, or it just has to be a detached structure at all?
Can it be turned to? Can the garage be turned to the side of the home?
We're trying to build a house in the city of Cleveland. We need you guys' help, not deterrent. Tell us what you need us to do.
Needs to be in the back or separate. It could be attached in the rear.
And even with the councilman giving his backing and stating that he lives literally a street over and he has a front car garage.
And he can see the property from it. He when we talked to him, he said, you know something, I was hoping one day somebody would put a nice house up there. And I said, well, we're in the process. Due to the fact that I am ailing, we're trying to do this now.
We empathize with your predicament, trust me, we do.
I'll entertain a motion unless there are other questions.
But the point is, to the builder there, the question being asked is there a design for a house that would allow a driveway to access an attached garage to the rear of the house that's being built?
It would cause a redesign of the plans that we currently have, and that would cause an increase in the budget for Miss.
Well, you know what? As somebody who didn't do their due diligence, I would hope that you would see the fact that, you know, making this happen without an extra cost to the landowner is the solution we're looking at, not to penalize him for your mistake.
Any comment, Mr. Luxembourg?
I'm not going to argue that point, you know.
Well, we don't want you to argue. We want a yes or no answer, basically.
I don't have any other comments.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Faith?
Madam Chair.
Oh.
If the appellants want to continue to explore whether or not an attached garage configuration could work in another manner on this particular piece of property, they may want to withdraw their request for a variance at this point. So we won't have any issues of what's called re judicata, looking at a similar variance that's already had a bad decision against it, and therefore disqualifying it from review.
Well, also, Mr. Donovan, if they look at a redesign of a different house with a rear loaded and or rear detached garage, they may not have to come back.
Correct.
Madam Chair, the only issue with that is because the lot is so deep, even if they have a rear loaded garage, they might still get written up for it because the garage would not be in the rear half of the lot. However, we would support that variance if they did a rear loaded garage or side loaded for that matter.
Okay.
And we are very happy that you are deciding to build in the city of Cleveland. We're very pleased with that. We think the house is a great house. We just can't support the variance of a front loaded garage.
Okay, so this is Mr. Frazier again. So I need to know from you guys. Yes, she can do a rear attached garage or side attached garage then. Oh,
Yes.
here's another question. How big of a detached garage can she build?
I don't have the number in front of me, but it could be at least 2-car garage, I would imagine. I don't know what the actual square footage number is. Do you know that, Ms. Kukla?
No, only reason I'm asking is I'm a car collector and I got a lot of cars. So maybe we
We
can
just
build
gave
a
a variance for an oversized garage.
We grant variances for oversized garages all the time, and considering the size of this piece of property, I would not, and again, without seeing a plan, I can't really tell you, but I would guess with a piece of property this large, we would definitely support a larger garage.
Well, she don't want a detached garage, so we got to work with
I would just try to see if, you know, with the amount of homes that Hovanian have, literally probably only one home, the garage is turned to the side. However, the width of the lot, when I tried to pick that other home, given the fact that I might not be able to have this home that I have now picked out, the width was too small for me to get a car to turn on that side of the garage. So at this point, if you guys are to say no, I will have to start from scratch all over again with probably a new builder, because Hovanian doesn't have anything for me to choose from. And it's just disheartening because, again, I've been at this. I signed the contract with them August of 2019, and now it's August of 2020. And what should have been a home built maybe 6 or 7 months ago, here we are at a year's time. And again, a little bit of that is due to COVID. But I just will have to go with a different builder. I don't even think Hovanian would be able to do anything for me, because the one and only home that they have, that's the garage is turned to the side, my piece of property does not have the width for it.
So the suggestion on the board right now would be to withdraw now your case. Ms. Fraser,
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what the meaning of that.
I can't understand. Not coming through here.
When you say withdraw, what do you mean?
Oh, that basically we're postponing the case and you can come back with another builder or a different design, maybe a large garage in the back, whatever.
Well, that means you got to start over. How about, you said she can have a attached garage in the back though, right?
Well, we don't know the size or anything that you said. We're just assuming.
I mean, a standard attached garage in the back.
Oh, she could have an attached garage in the back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as long as we got, I don't know. This is very disheartening, but we'll do the best we can to try and do the right thing by the city of Cleveland. We're not trying to deface anything. We're just trying to put up something nice and new.
We appreciate that, Mr. Frizzy. Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would definitely suggest that if you do anything, to withdraw as opposed to push forward, because if you don't get an approval, then you couldn't move forward. But if you withdraw and come up with something different or some other reason to do this, then at least you could easily come back. Yes,
Right.
Mr. Donovan.
Could he also be teamed with somebody from city planning to help them go through where they're at today and where they're going to end up being with a new house?
Absolutely. We had already set up a meeting with the Housing Design Review Subcommittee, but they chose to go ahead and move forward because they said they couldn't change the house design for the reasons that they just stated today. So we had already set up a meeting, but that got canceled.
Can we reestablish this meeting, because we're dead in the water? You guys just shot us out there, so we need to start from scratch.
Absolutely.
And we don't have that kind of money to just, this is hardening.
Rhonda Watley will reach back out to you. She's the neighborhood planner for the area.
Who is that now?
Sharonda Watley.
Okay.
And I'll send your daughter that email address and her contact information.
Okay.
Okay, so
And your name is Maurice?
you are withdrawing. Is that my understanding, Mr.?
Yes, we're doing whatever you guys want us to do. And you
Okay.
think it's-
Madam Chair, Ms. Kukla has her hand raised. And Mr. Cotton. I'm not sure what Mr. Cotton needs.
I was just wondering, I have to be here.
No, sir, you can leave. You can sign off.
All right, thank you. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you.
You too. Mrs. Kukla, you have your hand up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to, for the record, to note that the notice of non-performance was created in May. So this wasn't just adjudicated in August. It was May 6th when the notice was issued. So they've had a little bit of time with the knowledge that they don't meet the code with this drawing. So just wanted to note that for the record.
I'm sorry, I've called literally every single week to City Hall, and with them being only open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, it was very hard for me to get through. I've sent countless emails, and again, just the mere fact that City Hall was closed.
And we're still closed. We're doing a visual right now.
So it was just very hard for me to get in contact with anybody, even by email. And I have been trying to call literally every single week. I wake up calling on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Right, Madam Chair, and we have received those calls. I'm just stating that the information regarding the fact that the garage location is not appropriate has been out there since May. So there's been the ability to adjust the drawings to meet the code, you know, if you wanted to. So I'm just letting you know that that's just for the record that the information has been in your hands since May that it doesn't meet the code.
Okay, well, we understand that. Well, right now they're gonna send somebody, to help. We just need help. Need somebody from the city to tell us what we can and what we can't do.
Mr. Rubens is going to send the information to your daughter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, board. Ms. Faith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Calendar number 20-101 at 18611 Gulfview. Visionary Realty LLC owner proposes to erect 225 linear feet of 6-foot high picket style fence in the side and rear yard in an A1 one-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public.
Thank you very much. Mr. Donovan?
Will everyone for this case, please raise your right hand. I'm going to read a statement. Your answer should be I do and your name. Here we go. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Name?
Andrew Mott.
Anyone else? Here's not.
Thank you very much. History of the property, please, Mrs. Kukla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In the records room, I found a permit was issued in 1950 to erect a one-family dwelling. 1952, a permit was issued to erect a garage. 1969, a permit was issued to erect a plastic-coated chain link fence. And then, Madam Chair, in 1973, a permit was issued to erect a chain link fence. And then in the more recent history, Madam Chair, I only found that in 2015, a permit was issued to replace windows, and also a certificate of disclosure was issued stating that the authorized use of the property is single family. And that's all that I have.
Thank you very much. The legal standard will be judging the case on Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting area variances from the fence requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, Appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting a variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. Who's the representative of Visionary Realty? Is that you, Mr. Gunn?
Yes.
I'm sorry, yes?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, what is your position there? Are you the owner?
I am the owner. Yes.
And tell us exactly what you'd like to do and why.
I would like to erect a fence, a privacy fence. I would like to have it on the sidewalk side as well. Main goals and objectives of having this fence is to have a side yard where it's adjacent to the sidewalk and to provide privacy and security for children and pets. And have this symmetry. When you're looking at the house from the front, you have 6 foot of fence that will go to the left, to the neighbors, and I would like 6 foot of fence going to the right, which is rightfully my property. That should be possible. However, I feel like there has been a code that was that came into fruition for the corner lot for safety reasons, but I feel like the safety concerns are not applicable for my property due to the fact that it's actually on an angled street. There's an angle there. So if you have an angled advantage, the visibility to the intersection is less of a concern, as you can see from the triangle that I delineated over there in the picture. This is the view when you actually drive down the streets. If you erect a fence on the side of the house, going to the front and taking an L to the front of the house, that would not be an obstruction to the intersection. It's a very, very quiet street. Ultimate Drive is a beautiful ravine, and it has tree-lined streets, and it's a very slow, very low traffic street. So I don't think it would be a concern. In the end of the slide that I provided other properties within walking distance that do go straight to the front of the house and do an L. And I feel that provides a lot of practicality and functionality to allow for a side yard and a garden that I plan to build. And also, I feel like it also maximizes the square footage of the property. I also have a very long front yard, 59.10 feet from the front of the house to the ravine tree line. And there's plenty of space for visibility for the intersection. So I don't think the safety concern is actually there for those.
Am I the only one that had difficulty hearing?
What?
Was I the only one that had difficulty hearing and understanding? I really was struggling.
Yeah, I couldn't decipher much of that.
Thank you.
Is it my mic? That's.
What is that noise? Constant.
Wait, can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah, I think some people are not muting themselves.
Oh, God.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, so let me go through that speech
Quickly, yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I have an angle advantage. Well, let's start from the beginning. The main purpose of building this fence is to provide functionality and privacy for the property, and I plan to have a garden on the side yard adjacent to the sidewalk. So this side, I guess, fence for the sidewalk would be very beneficial for the property, and I also think about symmetry because I plan to build a fence to the left towards the neighbors and to the right 6 feet as well. So that symmetry is very important to me as an artist. So I feel like, but in terms of why the variance is applicable is due to the fact that we have an angle advantage on the street. You see when you look at the streets, if you go to slide right there. The property is situated on an angled street. It's a very slow dead-end residential street with very little traffic. And the angle allows visibility to the intersection without the fence being a hindrance to the line of sight. So if you go to the next slide, I provided a picture. There's an angle advantage. So when you drive down, you have clear sight of what's coming to the intersection. There's no obstruction of view, and I don't believe the fence would be any hindrance to that visibility. Next slide. Next slide, if you will. There's plenty of front yard as well. There's 59.10 feet from the front of the house to the ravine tree line. So there's plenty of front yard space for clearance for visibility of the intersection. Next slide. Many neighbors go to the front of the house, like this one on 18502 Pure Avenue. It's actually a clickable link that will take you to Google Maps, and you can see it for yourself. They have a privacy fence that's erected on the side, and they go straight to the front of the house.
Mr. On, let me just stop you there. We do not know if they're legal or not.
Yes, but right. I understand what you're saying. I'm just providing other examples and sort of the culture of the neighborhood, if you will. So I'm providing other examples here on Fairville Avenue. That's sort of what the neighborhood is like, what you see when you walk down the streets, corner lots. And the unique factor for my property is that it has an angle advantage, and it does not. The code was, I'm sure, has safety implications, but for my property being uniquely on an angled street, it does not provide an obstruction to the intersection.
What type of fence are you planning to build?
Just a 6-foot simple pine privacy fence. I believe on the first slide, I gave an example picture. If you could go to there.
Wow. You know, I'm not an artist, but I have to tell you that all the examples of the fencing I've been looking at here are aesthetically just awful as far as I'm concerned. You take a beautiful green swath of the landscape and you put these fences in there, and it's hard to view them other than an obstruction. Now, by the way, were this a hedge, if this was a green hedge, I'd have a whole different opinion of it.
Well, in terms of aesthetics, you can do a lot with color palettes. First of all, it doesn't have to be, it's subjective, but it doesn't have to be this unsightly yellow. It can be stained, it can be weathered, it can be painted. Also, you have to understand what's current is what it's replacing is a chain link fence, and I much prefer a privacy wooden fence over a chain link fence, which is more representative of a lower class neighborhood.
Is that top picture looks like it's 8 foot tall?
No, it's just a close-up angle.
Oh, okay.
It's a 6 feet tall, which is typical of the lumber that's provided, at a local box store.
Maurice, remind us of the variances that we have to make.
And this is just an example of some of the aesthetics that I'm capable of building. This is my house that I had back in Baltimore. Went through the entire process. I'm very good at aesthetics, symmetry, and ensuring that the contractors provide quality work.
Maurice, again, could you remind us of the specific variances we're dealing with here?
Yes, sorry, I was muted. I forgot I had muted myself. Yeah, the first variance is basically that it cannot exceed 4 feet, and it needs to be set back from off the property line, 4 feet from the property line. The other variance is the usual one where it cannot be next to the intersection of the driveway with the sidewalk. And if you look at his site plan, it really would just be probably a small change because it's already angled over here in the top left picture for the driveway. I don't know what this dimension is here. I couldn't find it on any of the submitted drawings. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, it needs to be 15 feet. That this corner would have to be 15 feet from the edge of the driveway.
Are you asking, who are you asking? I'm sorry.
Mr. On, you probably would be a better judge. Is that 15 feet?
From which point to which point are we discussing?
So it would be at the point right here where I have the cursor. I don't know if you can see that. Right, where
Right.
the grass
Yep.
meets where you meet the edge of the driveway, and you need to go 15 feet back from the edge of the driveway, and that creates a clearance so that when you're backing out of the driveway or pulling into the driveway, pedestrians can see that there's a car coming out. That's probably the major of the two variances that you never grant. The board never grants those. But that would just be a matter of pulling this back fence line back a few more feet probably, or angling it.
Okay.
And then the other variance is that it should only be 4 feet tall, and it should be 4 feet off of the property line. Mr. Davenport is here, our neighborhood planner for that area. I don't know if he had any comments to make on this.
Adam?
Yes, I wasn't sworn in. I was talking to Councilman Mooney, actually. So I apologize for that.
Tim?
Adam, do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you. So I'm not sure. It looks like we have the owner on the phone. I'm not sure if he also lives in the house. According to the county's website, the owner was listed as an out-of-town LLC. So if this is built for just a rental property, I really don't see why that the fence can't conform to our zoning code. There's not necessarily like a specific reason that's being requested per the tenant. If you recall, a few weeks ago, we had that fence case over on Purtis in the same ward with the owner already having built that fence. We made them lower the fence near the driveway to conform to those sight lines. I think that should be done here. And then for the overall height, I think you can just bring it down to 4 feet. I mean, it doesn't really necessarily make sense to me as to why it needs to be 6 feet. It would.
Thank you. Thank you for.
It would just. I'm glad the chain link is being replaced, but I think that this can just conform to the zoning code overall. Thank you.
So a couple things. One, this is my house. I live in it. And you have a 6-foot fence on the side, and a 4-foot fence in the back is definitely an eyesore to me as an artist. I want symmetry. I want clean lines. That's what I go for. And I also want privacy as well for my backyard, for children, for pets. That is something that I like to have, is privacy. So I don't see it being something that I would entertain to have the transition from a 6-foot fence down to a 4-foot fence. Also keep in mind, it's on an incline towards the driveway. So it's going uphill towards the driveway from the house. So you actually have more visibility from the top of the driveway than you do from the bottom. So there's also an advantage from a landscape perspective as well. When you're in the car on the driveway, you're at a high point. When you're at the house, you're at a low point. So that also factors into that as well. So in terms of the fence height, and sort of having a homogeneous 6-foot privacy fence, that is important to me, and that is something that I would want a variance for to the driveway. So I understand it's a corner lot, but it's a very unique corner lot with an angle advantage for the intersection, but also the driveway is very wide as well. It's a 2-car garage. I don't see there being any sort of safety implications for considering the low traffic area. It's in a ravine, isolated street, like a T zone, a T intersection. Not a lot of cars there. It's not like the house that I provided an example, the Paredes house that goes all the way to the front of the house. That is, to me, in my opinion, a way more risky sort of than what I plan to do with both.
Board, any questions?
Adam?
I don't have too many responses to those stated opinions. I guess the only thing that I would say is that we kind of, you know, we hold these fencing standards to a certain height for a reason, and that's, you know, for enough privacy, but also interaction when you are walking by. So when if this house were, or if this fence is 6 feet off the ground and you're only 1 foot away from the sidewalk, you're effectively walking near a pretty tall wall unless you're over 6 feet. If it's 4 feet, you have that interaction with your neighbors side to side. More privacy can always be done with landscaping to, you know, every case like this. But I think we should hold up these standards for that interaction. The fence can be higher if it's put further off the sidewalk. I'm not sure if the appellant wants a sort of narrower enclosed yard, but that could be done if it was further near the house. But I think you want to uphold these height standards if all possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Anybody else?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have a question. So essentially, the height issue right now is if he wants a 6-foot privacy fence, but the issue is if it gets closer to the driveway, it needs to drop to 4 feet. So, Mr. Hahn, do you have a problem with that?
I do. That sort of defeats the purpose of having, in my opinion, privacy fence. So a privacy fence, a 6-foot privacy fence would suffice. Although it's not completely private, I definitely agree that a 6-foot privacy fence is not completely private. But the whole purpose of me having a fence is the goal, initially going back to the golden objective of why I'm raising a fence, is for privacy, security, and containing my children and pets, and allowing for a side garden towards the sidewalk. So with Mr. Adam Davenport stating that only a 4-foot fence would be allowed, sort of knocks that whole initiative or motivation to erect a fence in the first place. So I originally have a chain fence, but the purpose of getting rid of that fence is for privacy reasons. And
Mr. Watt, we understand all that. I'm just asking you if you want to keep asking for your 6-foot privacy fence. However, when it gets closer to the driveway for line of sight issues, would you have a problem dropping that to 4 to comply with that part of our request today?
Okay, so then how far from the driveway must I be, the back rear fence that's parallel to the driveway? How far must it be in order for it to continue to be a 6-foot fence?
I think to completely comply with the zoning code, if it has to be 6 feet, the fence needs to move at least 6 feet off the sidewalk, and then near the driveway, it needs to be 15 feet back from the driveway. To Kelly's point,
sidewalk, I thought it was 4 feet per code.
To Kelly's point, if it was 4 feet, there's two things being requested here. There's one of the variances is that the fence is 6 feet, and that per our code it should be 4 feet. The other variance is that it's within 15 feet of that intersection near the driveway, and that needs to be 15 feet off the driveway. So that could come down in height as well, but to Kelly, to your point of these variances, there's still two height issues at large here.
Can he angle it there at the driveway, Adam?
Certainly, yeah, that's definitely possible. Mm-hmm.
And we've asked sellers to do that before, to angle it so they can.
And Madam Chair, I think it's already, I did a brief measurement from an online aerial, and I think that this triangle here is already 11 feet. So it's already set back 11 feet. At least that's where the existing fence line is. You'd only have to pull it back a few more feet, I believe, from where that existing rear fence line is, if that's what you're proposing.
Yes.
Because I think this distance here is 11 feet. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what
it's pretty close.
Measurement of the aerial shows. So the rear would be a relatively minor change to meet code.
But in terms of height, can it maintain 6-foot height all the way through?
You know, is building and housing representative on the call today? I don't see Mr. Riccardi.
No.
So I can't answer that question. That's a building and housing question, but I think Ms. Kukla has her hand raised.
Yes, Madam Chair. So there is still the issue where it runs parallel to the driveway. The code technically states that it has to be reduced down to 2.5 feet. It's not 4 feet, it's 2.5 feet. And that is when it's within 15 feet of the sidewalk, of that intersection where the sidewalk and the driveway hit. So he needs to be technically by code 15 feet off of the driveway and then 15 feet off of the sidewalk. And it still has to be the 2.5 feet just to allow for that clearance so that somebody backing out of that driveway can see anybody walking down the sidewalk and vice versa. So the code requires both the 15 feet back and the reduction of 2.5 down to 2.5 feet for that, that triangle clearance. So that's what the code requires.
I feel, this is my personal opinion, that the code is over conservative. And I also feel that it's not practical. Kind of deters a lot of homeowners from pursuing corner lots due to this type of restriction, considering this is still my property. And this is and I got a survey done, and I have stakes in the grounds, and it is all my property that I can't freely build on. So I asked the hearing committee to provide a variance for a 6-foot privacy fence for the drawing I provided. And it looked beautiful, and it will be practical and functional as well. And I am all about appreciating the neighborhood, making the neighborhood look better, not worse. Trust me.
So you're not willing to go by the law? Is that what you're saying?
Excuse me, can you repeat, please?
Yes. Then you're not willing to abide by the law or the ordinance?
I am willing to abide by whatever is enforced, of course, in a legal way. But it also needs to align with my objectives as well. And if it's not worth it for me, then I don't pursue the fence at all. But this is why we're having a variance request, right? Because there is a unique situation, and I'm presenting a rationale for why a variance is required.
Any other board?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Faith.
to Mr. Davenport, would it be worth the effort for you and the councilman to meet with the appellant as you did with the previous fence issue we had a couple weeks ago? So that we could take the discussion of height and distances to the site, and you could work it out with the appellant?
I'm always willing to do that. We'd have to run by the local council person, Charles Slife. He did send a letter. I'm not sure if it was read before I jumped back on after talking to Councilman Mooney, but Councilman Slife did send a letter of non-support. He doesn't really support these variances. So I think he sent that to Liz yesterday night and copied myself, but I'm not sure if that was read into the record.
Okay. Receive a letter from the council?
Yes, we did. I believe I sent it to Mr. Rulins. But yes, we did receive that letter from Councilman Slife.
Yeah, no, I never received that letter.
Okay, we need to hear what he had to say. Do Do you have it there?
Yeah, give me one moment. I'll pull it up.
I can reach to Charles directly. I mean, I've spoken with him recently regarding removing a tree, and he and Jen really helped with removing a dead tree on that corner. So
it's a longer letter.
Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Adam.
It's a longer letter, but I'll read most of it here. Dated August 16th, I'm writing to express my opposition to the granting of the zoning variances for the property located at 18611 Gulfview Drive. I oppose the variances for two reasons. He states that he knows of no specific person that is tied to this limited liability corporation. And then he says public records suggest that this is an investor-owned rental property, and it does not appear to be in compliance with the City of Cleveland laws pertaining to rental registration. So I think he was under the impression, I was as well this morning, that this was not a
he's
in town.
I mean, there's
Madam Chair, I think we've proven that, the owner is here of the house. So I think Ms. Faith has a point of, I don't know if he would be willing to just, work with city planning and go back to the drawing board so that some kind of agreement can be made so that he can get his fence, but he's also, in compliance with, what we're looking for. And so that kind of we all meet in the middle, and everyone won't be happy, but, at least there'll be some kind of negotiation. So.
Mr. Ahn,
yes.
are you willing to meet with the council person and Mr. Davenport?
Of course. And I have Councilman Spike's email, so I've been working with him.
You want to postpone this then, Miss Britt?
He's got to ask for a postponement.
Yeah, I would recommend a postponement. Yeah.
Mr. Ahn?
Yes.
Postponement, please, and then we'll give you the date.
What would the timelines look like? This has been a fence project that I've been planning for years, to be honest.
The quicker you get your case reinstated with a date, the quicker it'll move.
Okay.
Or we can make a decision right now if you'd like.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
the date would be either September 14th or the 21st.
14th.
September 14th is when another hearing would be held, or what?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear anybody.
What's the September 14th date? What is that, to meet the councilman? What?
Now that's coming back here.
That's coming back here after meeting the councilman.
That's right.
That's your next BZA hearing, so you should meet with anybody who you need to meet with and have your plans ready for your September 14th date.
Adam, would you coordinate that with the council person?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And then get a hold of Mr. Ahn. We'll see you back on the 14th of September, Andrew. Without objection, board?
Without objection.
Without objection.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Miss Faith?
Yes, ma'am. Calendar number 20-105 at 2341 Scranton Road. 3004 St. Clair LLC owner proposes to erect building additions and establish use as a mixed use in a G2 local retail business district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the notified ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record.
Thank you very much. Mr. Donovan?
Everyone for this case, kindly raise your right hand. I'm going to read a statement. I'm looking for a reply from you that says I do and your name. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do. Representative Lucas Stibe with AODK Architecture.
Anyone else?
I do.
I believe
I do.
I'm here also. Dave Ferrante, I do. The owner of the property.
Okay.
I do, Matt Moss, City Planning.
Okay. Anyone else?
I do. Khalid Hawthorne.
I do, Chris Schmidt.
Okay. Okay, we got a reunion going on here. All right.
Okay. History of the property, please, Mrs. Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was originally zoned semi-industry in 1929. In 2012, it was changed to local retail business. In the records room, I found a permit was issued in 1899 to erect a one-story addition to the building. In 1925, a permit was issued to erect addition again to the building. The 1930s Sanborn map shows that on the property was an auto truck body factory, and that's really all that I could get from the records. There are no variances on file, and in the more recent history, I found in 2011, a permit was issued to store moderate hazard materials, and there were no details. There was a certificate of disclosure issued, and there was no details on that.
Thank you very much. The legal standard will be judging the case on, please.
Madam Chair, just one quick, if you're not speaking, please mute your microphone. There's a lot of distraction with background noises. Mr. Ferrante, yeah, thank you. Yours was definitely showing noise. Ms. Love, I've muted you about 4 times. Please leave your microphone muted until your case is called. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right. I appreciate that. Thank you. History of the property, Liz.
Nope. The legal standard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the legal standard. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting area variances from the dumpster enclosure, driveway, and off-street parking requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land and buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. Who's the owner of 3004 St. Clair?
That's me, Dave Ferrante.
Okay, Mr. Ferrante, tell us exactly what you'd like to do.
Would you mind if I defer to my architect, Lucas? He's been working on the project diligently since the beginning.
Okay, has he been sworn in?
Yes, I'm here. I've been sworn in.
Okay, thank you.
Just tell me when to change the slides, Mr. or Lucas.
That's fine. Yep. So this is an aerial view of the property that is in discussion. It's on the corner of Scranton and Kenilworth. As Liz introduced the building, it was an industrial building originally. It's gone through numerous expansions, and it's become a real staple for the neighborhood in the corner. Mr. Ferrante's hope is to renovate the building and put a small addition on the top of the building to turn this into mixed use, both supplying some residential units for rent and a commercial space to reinvigorate the corner, as well as a private residence on top of the building. If I'm understanding the legal standard correctly, and in discussions with city planning, the 2 main issues that we're hoping to discuss today and receive variances on are on parking, and we can go through those when we get to our proposed site plan. But I just wanted to show this so you can see the extent of the building and the location. Our proposal will not change the existing footprint of the building at all. The additions are purely on the 2nd and 3rd floor. And the parking that we'll be proposing, you'll see the small strip of grass to the north of the building. There will be tenant parking there. And the corner existing parking lot that has some loading ramps is the southeast corner. We are proposing repaving that for potential commercial parking.
Okay.
These images just show some of the existing building. Draw your attention to the top left corner. the original building, as Ms. Kukla had introduced it, originally had Scranton Avenue Carriage Works, which was in the 1920s was a depot for vehicle chassis. So the owner is hoping to harness the history of the building and keep the name of the building, the mixed-use building, which will have residential and commercial as the Scranton Avenue Carriage Works. And as you can see, the bottom images show the one parking lot in question. They're currently loading ramps for what was once an industrial building. Our proposal is going to be to repave that parking lot, have access off of the alleyway on the right there, which is West 16th. And kind of redo that parking lot and not have the access come onto Kenilworth, which it currently does. We feel that the traffic there is too severe. So our new proposal of having access off of West 16th will alleviate some of the traffic issues there. The image on the top left is West 16th Street that we were talking about, the alleyway. And then the image on the bottom right is that north lot, which is being consolidated with the main lot. So it'll all be one lot. And that is our proposed parking for the tenants of the future space.
Is that telephone pole going to be removed?
I don't believe so. That it is on the right of way. It's right up against the building. But city utilities would address that issue. I don't think there's any plans to remove it though.
Is it up against the building? Looks like you got 2-3 feet before the building.
It does look like it's right in the middle of the alley. I don't know if that's an optical illusion, but it isn't in the alleyway currently.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I think the shadow of it to look like it's in the middle of the alley, but it is not.
Okay, thank you, Kelly.
It does appear that way though.
Yeah. Okay, moving right along. All right, go right ahead.
So this is our proposed site plan. You'll see the existing building footprint in light gray. The dark gray boxes are what we are proposing to add to the building. So in addition to the second floor, in addition to the third floor. The main issues for discussion today, I believe, are the parking lot to the north, which you'll see we're proposing 7 parking spots. Again, access from West 16th. It'll be a one-way drive-through parking lot. The exit would be onto Scranton. So we're proposing a new curb cut onto Scranton there. The other parking is the southeast of the building, where there's currently a parking lot there. The existing parking curb, as you saw, exits southward onto Kenilworth. We're proposing some landscape planters, and new access off of West 16th. So you can pull in to these 6 commercial parking spaces and then exit the same way. When we get to the items up for variance, the one item is there was concern about backing into West 16th because of traffic issues, which is understandable, but it being an alleyway, we thought that this was a better solution than having any access off of Kenilworth as far as traffic concerns go.
So there's only going to be one residential that on the roof? Is that?
No, there will be 7 to 8 rentable residential units on the ground floor. And then there will be a private residence added to the second floor. The commercial space is at the corner there. It's the existing corner of Scranton and Kenilworth. That is proposed to be a rentable commercial space. The goal of that is to kind of reinvigorate the corner. We also know that there are future plans, as this is part of the city planning, to kind of re-enliven the street and this neighborhood. So we're hoping to contribute to that initiative.
Okay, how about the dumpster thing?
Yes, I believe if we want to go one more slide forward, this shows it's not listed on here, but Lisa Ray, the second page to Lisa Ray, the city planner's review, there were 2 comments where at the time the site plan that you're seeing now just wasn't as flushed out as the one that we just looked at. Lisa Ray and I have been talking a lot and to make sure we're achieving the goals the city's hoping to see. One of those being the city dumpsters and their enclosures. So those are now included. If we want to jump back to the site plan, I can point those out. There's 2 on the north lot with access off of West 16th. They're labeled with a number 4. Right there. So there's 2 units that would probably be for the tenant garbage. And then there is 1 just south of there for the commercial space. These were will both be enclosed in a fence detail that you can see to the right. The fencing will match all the fencing on the property and will be within city code ordinance. But yeah, the call out for that, I think, was just because those weren't fully fleshed out. There was also a comment on our landscaping that has been flushed out since too, and at initial review seems to comply with the reviewers' goals. The 2 issues that we were hoping to address today were the parking issues. The north lot, there was a concern about the spot farthest to the west being so close to Scranton. A few ways that we are addressing this issue. The one I had mentioned, the consolidation of the 2 lots. So by consolidating the smaller north lot with the larger existing south lot, we're hoping that that becomes a side yard rather than a front yard, and might allow for that 7 spots. Obviously, we're trying to maximize the use of that parking in there, and 7 seems to be the magic number. The second thing, we addressed the concern by City Planner Matt Moss about the visual of having a parking lot right off of Scranton. So this parking lot will also be enclosed with a fence, both for privacy of the tenants, but also to alleviate any eyesores from the street. And we're also going to landscape the front of that fence so it looks nice off of Scranton.
That was one of the other things. There was no landscaping plan.
Right. So the part of this one that you're seeing here on the screen has been reviewed with Lisa since her first letter. There's now landscaping listed with basis of design for plant species, and everything seems to be in coordinates with the city zoning.
We would need to have a copy of that plan for our records.
Yeah, that's this one here. It should be in your records.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
We have other people who've been sworn in. I'd like to hear from everybody. Next. Those are the new windows.
Yes, I'll just continue to finish out the presentation, and then we kind of skipped over a letter from Tremont, so maybe I'll allow Khalid to address that. But there is a lot consolidation included in this package, and the last 2 are just renderings of our proposed reinvigorated building. The client is really interested in maintaining the identity of this building. He feels that there's a nice history and it's part of the neighborhood. So we're trying to do minimal interventions, just opening up the windows so it looks much nicer, much more of a welcoming building, but the existing character is to remain the same.
Okay. Now I'll hear from the others. Maurice, do you have the names? I only got a couple.
Yes, ma'am. We have Khalid with his hand raised from Tremont West.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Just want to reiterate our support for this project. We sent a letter from our Economic Development Committee. The Block Club is aware of the project. They have not met since COVID, but we actually had reaching a neighborhood plan in this area, which a majority of the projects have been vetted seen by the community there. There's a lot of activity in this corner. We're excited about having another building put back to productive use. They are reducing the impacts of especially along Kenilworth, of a curb cut there, and the other uses as far as the right-of-way parking and things of that nature, and trying to be creative with adding additional parking that's not in the right-of-way in an alley with all the urban constraints. It is, like I said, there's several other projects that are in this area, an existing townhome development that is newly constructed and another one planned. So we like the fact that they did try to minimize the traffic impact by having the additional outlet onto Scranton there, which normally would, in different scenario, if you go back to the slides with the alley look, you see that historically people have parked along the alley because of the houses that were built there did not have access for driveways and things of that nature, so they park on the alley, and so there's a lot of activity there already. So yes, these new projects will bring new activity, but it should be relieved to a certain degree by the extra curb cut on Scranton. Other than that, like I said, we're excited about this project and all the others that are happening in this part of Tremont.
Thank you very much. Okay. Who else?
Can you hear me okay? This is Dave Ferrante.
We can hear you.
Okay, I just want to say that I've always loved the Tremont neighborhood, and I've always played a part down there for the last 10 or 12 years. And every project I've been in, I've tried to do something where it's benefited the community also. And me and my wife are actually going to be living in this building, and we're really excited about the opportunity to move into Tremont. And again, it's going to be a situation where we want to contribute to the neighborhood at the same time. And Tremont West has been great. We met with Khalid. We also met with the Economic Development Group. They've all given their okays to it. I also want to say Lucas has been, and his architect firm AODK has been great to work with. And Matt Moss has given us some direction here to help us out a little bit too. So we're really excited about this, and we're trying to make sure we allow for everything so we fit in the building fits in very well to what's going on with the master plan down there too.
Thank you very much. And I suppose you're the one living on the roof there, Mr. Ferrante.
Yes. Until my daughter moves home and takes it over.
Exactly. Was Matt Moss also here on this?
He is.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Matt Moss, City Planning. Again, I want to add that this is a really great project. Dave and his team and Lucas have worked really closely with us to figure out exactly how to make this fit in and to address any of the zoning issues and also site design issues. They've been excellent in addressing every one of our concerns. The only thing I think that's left, that might be the only unbuttoned item that I've already discussed with Lucas that I want to make the board aware of is the really large curb cut on Kenilworth that was existing to allow access to those loading docks. Maurice, could you go to the existing condition photos at the beginning of the presentation, just for context? I brought this up with Lucas and Dave, and I believe they're amenable to it. But I asked that they either consider removing this curb cut, or if that's too expensive or too cost prohibitive, installing planters along here to prevent cars from parking pretty much right on the sidewalk, as you can see here. Other than that, this project's addressed every single one of our concerns, and I think this is something they're willing to do, but I just wanted to make the board aware of it. Other than that, it's like I've said, they've done everything we've asked and have been really great to work with.
That's a great suggestion for that the curb cut.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'll just respond. Like Matt said, we've been working closely together on that. It was initially part of the plan to remove that curb cut, and because as I had stated, we are hoping to have full access to that commercial lot off of West 16th. Our thought behind keeping it at the current moment is just to minimize costs right now for a bit, but also for flexibility of the future commercial tenant, which is unknown. Mr. Ferrante hopes to rent it out to a great community booster, and we don't know what their needs are, whether it is potential outdoor seating, maybe if it's a bike shop. These are all speculative ideas, but the idea of keeping it open and working with that tenant to address what they may need that space for, other than parking, obviously, was our thought. The second part of that is, as Khalid had addressed, there is a master plan in the works. And before we tear this up and do our own landscaping on here, we wanted to make sure that the master plan was addressed, and that whatever work the city is hoping to do was part of that plan. So for this phase of the construction, while that will not be a working curb cut and a working parking spot, we were hoping to keep it until there's more direction from the city. But we are very open to some of Matt Moss's suggestions, whether they're planters or other landscaping or site amenities that prohibit parking for that area.
Anybody else for this case, boys?
Madam Chair, we had Marty Walters signed up. I see that he's on here. I don't know if he had any comments. Mr. Walters, were you? Yeah, I believe he's a neighbor.
Marty?
Hi there. I'm not sure if I'm muted or not, but can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Great. Well, so, I mean, my only concern is West 16th Place. I mean, it's a really tight fit to get down that alley. Currently, there's a motorhome that's sort of stabilized. It stays there all the time. And like some of the people don't have garages, so there's always going to be alley parking. So my concern is just people backing out into the 16th Place. And I don't know if I've seen, I thank you for presenting it, but I don't know if I saw the landscaping in front. Are you going to landscape where the cars park on Scranton and then just leave one entry out? Is that?
Yeah, I can address that. If you go back to the one rendering, Maurice.
The newer rendering? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, if you don't mind. You could probably visualize it a little bit better. One more over. There you go. So here you're seeing the existing curb cut, obviously rendered, but the planters there on the right, you are seeing that divides the space from our proposed commercial parking, where you're seeing a red and white car. Those spots, those cars are, we're trying to show them parked in those commercial spots. So the planters there are dividing that space from the existing apron. And yes, to your point, there will be some backing up into West 16th Place. We're thinking that because it is a little bit closer to the entry point, that there'll be less traffic and hopefully less street parking. I'm not sure if the street parking is going to be, as this area continues to develop, if that street parking is going to change or not. But we're hoping to work with the existing conditions of West 16th as much as possible.
Okay, well, so it's going to be one lane what they're backing out into most of the time.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, I still have concerns about that, but I mean, overall, I'm happy about the project. But,
great.
That's my biggest concern about that. So there's no way to get them to come in one way and out the other, or do you think that you envision them backing out and then going up and taking a left at your little, your one way out?
No, the way I at least initially envisioned it is they would back up out of their spot with the rear of their vehicle heading northward and then heading towards Kenilworth and exiting the site that way.
Okay, yeah, so that's my only concern, and it still is a concern. I'm just because I mean, I think they're going to be pulling head in first, right? Is there any way to reconfigure that and get in to come in one way and out another?
The only way, in my opinion, just off the cuff, would be to maintain the access off of Kenilworth, which one would be in, one would be out. We'd probably lose some parking in doing that, and then we would maintain that existing traffic congestion on the Kenilworth corner. Our main concern was the fact that it was so close to the corner of Scranton and Kenilworth that kind of pulling in and out of there could potentially be more hazardous than coming in or out of West 16th.
Yeah, okay, well, I mean, I don't see that 16th is that far away from your current curb cut. But I mean, that's just my thought. So I mean, overall, I like the project. I just don't know about this parking right up here, because this 16th Place, you really should show it as a one lane, because that's typically what it is. And when someone else goes to pull in there, a lot of times I have to back out I back out onto Kenilworth to let the people go, and then I pull down.
Right. It is currently, I mean, I know it's one lane wide, but it is currently a two-way street. Is that correct?
It is.
Okay.
But I mean, the existing residents that have been there a long time use it as parking. So.
Yes, yeah, I see.
So anyways, that is my concern, and I don't know if it can be mitigated. I'm happy for the project. I just don't know exactly what to do about that corner parking.
Madam Chair, we have Mr. Moss with his hand raised.
Yes, Mark, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I wanted to provide some more information. Just so you're aware, 16th Place is a fairly wide alley. It's about 20 feet wide. Typically in the city of Cleveland, when we're looking at reconfiguring roadways, the lane width per vehicle we look at is anywhere between 10 and 12 feet. So that's roughly a 2-lane road. I just wanted to provide that context so you can understand just the actual geometry of this street.
Okay, how are we going to prevent the residents that don't have parking, that have been using that for how many years, to move elsewhere, so to speak, move their cars elsewhere? Are we going to put a fence up? Are we just going to leave it, whoever can get out of there first? Matt, you have any ideas?
So you're asking me, Madam Chair? I wasn't sure if you were who directing that question to.
Well, no, but I'm you, because you're the brains in the outfit here.
I think the concerns are legitimate. What I've found through experience is first of all, I'll say that the reason why we have alleys in the city is to direct car traffic and to help separate vehicle traffic from pedestrian and bicycle traffic. That's a major practical purpose of these alleyways. Another one is for service collection, like trash and other things like that. As you can see, the utilities for this street, the power lines run down the alley. So it's a good way they're a good resource to have utility services access those types of services through the alleyway instead of being on the sidewalk or being in the street. But that said, I think the congestion, while it may be inconvenient at times, it does make it safe because cars will be forced, because of the limited space, to navigate this area carefully and slowly. And that's really what we're intending to design our streets and connections to be, because safety is a huge concern, and we want vehicles and drivers to drive cautiously. And I think the way this project has been oriented both fully utilizes the alley, which is necessary and important, in a way that also will make it so cars can't drive quickly down this way. And it seems to me like there's enough space to still provide parking down here while maintaining access in a way that is slow and safe. And I think that's a priority for us as the city, because through various acts that we're working on, including Vision Zero, which we'll have an action plan forthcoming that will hopefully codify more of these things that I'm saying. That's what we're working on right now. So I see it as fitting into those goals and really reinforcing them.
Thank you, Matt. I have a question for Lucas.
Yes.
I'm looking at what's on the screen. I think you have it also. Are these windows that are teeny little windows, I guess, are they going to be like you showed on the front rendering?
Yes, absolutely. So each of these, what you're seeing here, will be I believe you're seeing the 3 large kind of glass block windows. Each of those will belong to one of the units, and they will get brand new big open windows that you saw on the other renderings.
Thank you. Any other questions, board? Any other speakers, Maurice?
I was going to say, Madam Chair, I can put forth a motion if there are no other questions.
Hit it, Hal.
Madam Chair, given the testimony and support from the CDC, I move that we variances as requested, noting that at the time of review, the landscaping plan and dumpster variance is no longer needed due to a letter from the city planner, as well as the appellant has testified that there will be a lot consolidation. City planning will need, Board of Zoning Appeals will need to see that lot consolidation, as well as there will be some curb cut mitigation for the Kenilworth curb cut.
Second, call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't hear, was there an amendment about the dumpster as well? The appellant stated that the dumpster enclosure will be provided.
I did say that, Liz.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'll call the roll. Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Fay?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yep.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Calendar 20-105 is granted pending those lot consolidation drawings. It will be ratified next week, and we will send you a letter if we have those drawings.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your time.
No problem. Ms. Faith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Calendar number 20-0109 at 2078 West 44th Street, Cuyahoga County Land Revitalization Corp. Owner in the Horton Harper Architect proposed to erect a single-family residence with attached garage on a 2,740 square foot on the B1 two-family residential district. The put by ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Oh, yes. Will everyone for this case, please raise your right hand. I'm going to make a statement and looking for a reply that says, I do, and your name. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Michael.
Anyone else?
No, we just have Michael.
I think we only have Michael Horton.
Okay.
Tina Haddad, Your Honor, representing Elba Ayala, adjacent landowner. Thank you.
Did you say I do?
I do.
Okay. Anyone else?
Oh, we also have Andrea Bruno from the county.
Andrea, do you want to say I do in your name?
Andrea. Andrea once, Andrea twice, Andrea three times. You're out of here. History of the property, please, Mrs. Kukla.
Thank you, Madam.
I know we had it in 19-157, but just...
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The calendar is 19-157. The variance was granted on August 12th, 2019. There were no conditions placed on the variances. We used the identical drawings and the identical write-up. I think the pertinent information also is that in 2017, a permit was issued to demolish a two-story frame single-family dwelling. And that's all that I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Law Department, the legal standard will be judging it on, Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting area variances from the maximum gross floor area, rear yard, and side yard encroachment requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. Whose phone's ringing now? Thank you.
That was my office phone.
Okay, Michael.
Okay, hi, Michael Horton, Horton Harper Architects, we're the architect for the project. We had presented this project to the Board of Zoning Appeals last year in August, and we're simply back solely because our variance is expired. And at the time that we received approval, we were, for the variances that, I mean, those were approved. We're still working through some design related issues with the city of Cleveland, and we just, it was just lost track of the 6-month timeline. So we're really only here to extend those variances again. Nothing has changed with the project.
Any other questions, board? Is there anybody, or you named a few other people, Maurice, that are here for this case?
Oh yeah, because I was ready to rock and roll. Okay, we got other people.
Yes, we have Tina Haddad, who is a neighbor, I believe.
I'm an attorney representing the neighbor on Bailey Avenue.
Okay.
Do you have any comments, ma'am?
We have one question with regards to the variance request. They are indicating a condenser unit would be placed along the interior side yard. is not permitted as an encroachment. Can someone point out where this unit's going to be? The drawing's a little difficult for us to see here.
I believe is that Mr. Horton? Is that correct right there?
That's correct. It's toward the back of the house and sort of almost in the center of the property.
Behind the garage?
Yeah, it's adjacent to the back corner of the garage.
Okay.
This is a very deep side yard as well.
Correct.
Are there any other questions, Ms. Haddad?
No, nothing further. That answers all of our questions.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We also had Andrea from the county. Did you have any comments? I don't know if her microphone is working or not.
She did, not to speak for Ms. Bruno, but she did message me that her mic was not working, and then she did message in that she is here. But we'll see if she has any comments. I don't see any.
Did she have any objections?
She said we fully support this project.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Britt.
Yes, Madam Chair, we approved it as Liz stated. We approved this of August of last year, and if all the variances are exactly the same as the appellant has testified, I move that we approve the variances again for covenant number. Although on the record it was 19-157, we also have it here for 20-109. So whatever case number works, we'll approve both. And that's it.
Second.
Call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Bates?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yep.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Calendar 20-109 is granted. The board will ratify it next week and send you a letter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don't forget about the 6 months. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Faith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Calendar number 20-117 at 3575 117th Street. Sahab of Cleveland 2 LLC owner proposes to renovate a motor vehicle service station to expand the convenience store in a C1 retail business. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record.
Thank you very much. Tim? Oh, no, the legal. Yes, Tim.
Everyone for this case, kindly raise your right hand. I'm going to make a statement. When I'm done, anyone that wants to testify, do so by saying I do statement and give us your name. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Gary Fisher, architect.
I do. Nasser Jabber, owner and operator.
I do. Councilman Brian Mooney.
I do. Adam Davenport, city planning.
Okay. That it?
That it?
That's all I have listed.
Okay, great. Mrs. Coco, history of the property.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The property was originally zoned general retail in 1929. In 2006, it was changed to local retail business. In the records room, I found a permit was issued in 1927 to erect a gas station. And then in 1969, a permit was issued to erect a filling station and limited service with pump islands. There's one variance on file, Madam Chair, in calendar 09-263. A variance was granted to erect an addition to an existing gas station. And then in the more recent history, I found in 2013, a permit was issued to board up a standard size window and a standard size front door. And in 2007, where we see that there are food licenses beginning to be issued in the property through 2018. And then, Madam Chair, I found that a certificate of disclosure was issued in May of this year stating that the use of the property is as a filling station and a limited service station. And that's all that I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Yielding to the Law Department, Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting area variances from the fence, landscaping, and off-street parking regulations of the zoning code and permission to expand a non-conforming use. To obtain the expansion of the non-conforming use, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and the granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other limited buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and the granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. Somebody better turn off mute their phone or mute the sound. I'm getting all kinds of stuff. Really hard to understand. Okay, who's the Saha Realty representative?
That would be me, Gary Fisher.
Okay, and you are?
I'm the architect for the project.
You have a letter saying that you could represent the appellant?
Well, yes, all of those were sent in to Liz quite a while ago. We actually have tried to track it, and it was rejected by City of Cleveland. The post office attempted to deliver 4 times. It was rejected, but I did email Liz the information. I think you have it.
Liz, do you have it?
Yes, we have that, Madam Chair.
Well, Madam Chair, I believe the owner is actually on the call as well.
He is.
Okay. Tell us exactly what you'd like to do.
So this is, there's an existing commercial building located on the northern end of the property that has been boarded up for many years. The intent there is to tear down the front portion of that. If you want to go back to that,
okay.
If you can see the slide to the upper right-hand corner. There's a white block building. Our intent is to tear that down. That fronts on West 117th Street, almost on the sidewalk, a few feet back. And then to renovate the building immediately to the back with that sort of flying wing roof, if you will. Mm-hmm. The fueling area, and that will be turned into a convenient type store. There will be no motor vehicle repair on the site. So this is only a gas station and a convenience store. Right now, you can see the small kiosk in the upper left photo. The small kiosk gas station is pretty old, very dated, not in great condition. The owners intend to redo the pumps, the station, and demolish that small building, and then redo the canopy and the pump area, redo the lot, and obviously have a more of an asset to the neighborhood than what it is right now. As you can see in the lower right-hand corner, the property does front adjacent on Thrush to a residential house. There's currently a grade difference there of approximately 2 feet as you get away from Thrush Avenue. The existing building that has, I'll call it that flying wing roof, the rear building that we're going to renovate, fronts on the line as you get farther down, and there is a fence currently that goes to approximately the front of the house. And it's at the lower level. There you go. That building that you see in the photo now would be the one that would get torn down.
Okay.
If you want to go to the next slide. That shows the fence along the property line and the adjacency of the building that we plan on renovating. Also, the building with the blue roof is the one that will be torn down, and then obviously the entire parking lot redone. This is the overall site plan of the property as proposed.
So landscaping any place?
Well, right now, the entire lot is paved. We're certainly not opposed to that. We will maintain some landscaping up on 117th where the building is being torn down, a small landscape strip there. And then fencing along the north side of the property adjacent to where the current residence is over there. And then there is a little bit of landscaping at the corner of Thrush and 117th.
It's very difficult to see that on this plan on my screen, but I don't know how to get it any bigger, so fine. What are the hours of this convenience store and gas station?
Nasser, that would be to you.
6 a.m. to 1 a.m., just 2 shifts.
Okay, and open 7 days a week? Hello, 7 days a week?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Okay, let's hear from, I'd like to hear from Adam.
Yes, hello again. This is quite the extensive renovation, and I think we're overall pretty pleased about it. Looking at the variances, it seemed the one that kind of confused me was the call out for spaces along Thrush Avenue as additions to those additional parking areas, which was generally confusing. But if there's a variance needed for the amount of parking spaces for this project, we are in support of it. I mean, if the business operator thinks that they can function with less parking spaces than the zoning code requires for a gas station, I think we are in support of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Besides the councilman, was there anybody else, Maurice, that needed to speak?
I have nobody else.
Okay, well then let's hear from Councilman Mooney.
Thank you. And also in this packet, I wanted to let you know Chad Dasher from Westtown Development. He's unavailable today, but he did send in a letter of support. I have been on site. I will let you know this gas station has been dilapidated for a long time. It was involved in a 10-year lawsuit as to ownership that was finally resolved, I believe, in February or March of this year. Mr. Jobber is a new purchaser of this gas station. He has another gas station in Councilman Brancatelli's ward. I believe it's a Marathon. I went and looked, and it's a very nice gas station, and it's operated well. And I just asked Councilman Brancatelli. I do appreciate the substantial investment he wants to make here, and we're in support. That's all.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, board? I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Shirley. No, you're not Shirley.
My concern is with regard to landscaping, particularly along the lot lines adjacent to the houses on either side. Could the architect and the owner make some modifications to allow for some screening in addition to fencing?
I'm certain that that's something that we could certainly entertain along there. We could certainly improve the fencing along the, what would that be, the east side. And along that, I'm a little concerned with creating something a little too dense on that, on the north side, just because of lines of sight. There is, a minimal area there, and the driveway of the neighbor actually is right on, it's actually over our line at this point. So I don't want to take anything away from them either. But we are, getting kind of jammed in with spaces. I suppose we could move it over and give a small landscape bed there.
Right, if you can introduce a landscape bed with something that's not gonna impede the sight line on the north side, and something that might be a hedge border or something along the south.
The south gets tough because of that grade change. There's a retaining wall there.
Right.
I'm a little concerned with digging anything out and undermining that retaining wall. with any kind of vegetation. I'd prefer if we could just fencing along that way. The house sits pretty far forward on the property, so our building actually forms a retaining wall towards the north. And then as we, we're pretty well in the backyard.
And what are your plans for the back of the lot? I'm sorry if I missed that.
Oh, along the east side, we'd replace that fence.
Okay. All right. Those are the only modifications I'd like to see, Madam Chair.
Okay.
And with that, I'd make a motion on calendar number 20-117 at 3575 West 117 with modifications of adding fencing and some landscaping. Excuse me. I would move that with the approval of the CDC, the councilman, and city planning, that we approve this variance.
Second.
Call the roll.
Sorry about that. Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Ms. Britt?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yep.
Ms. Faith?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Calendar 20-117 is granted, pending revised drawings showing the landscaping along that interior property line. Ratification will be held after that plan is received, and we will send you a letter.
Madam Chair, Mr. Fisher had his hand raised. Did you have an additional question, sir?
Just a couple, one little piece of housekeeping. Thank you all. We truly appreciate it. And then the second thing is, and this is for Liz, did you receive the packet that we had sent in the mail? Only because it has the fees and everything else in it. We've tried to track it and the post office says it's there and they've tried to deliver it. And I just want to make sure you get everything that you need.
No, as of Friday, we haven't received any large packet from you yet.
Yeah, they won't let us get it. It's showing that a notice was delivered to City Hall and I'm not sure what that procedure is.
Okay. So actually, I'm sorry, I wasn't in the office on Friday. As of Thursday, I hadn't received it. So I will check with our mail room to see if we received that little sheet of paper. Yeah, but that doesn't sound familiar. I haven't seen anything like that yet. Sorry.
Okay, let us know and we'll be glad to do what we need to. Thank you again, board. I appreciate it. And I know the owners appreciate it as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ms. Faith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Postponed from July 20th, 2020, case number 20-050 at 3586 East 140th Street. Sharon Love, owner, proposes to use existing single-family residence for a maximum of 5 people for a residential care facility. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the codified ordinances as stated in the agenda.
Thank you.
I'm here.
Everyone for this case, please raise your right hand. I'm going to read a statement. You reply, I do, with your name. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Your name?
Sharon Love.
Anyone else for this case?
No.
Okay. We've had the history of the property. Let's have the legal standard again. We're supposed to judge this case on. Ms. Wagner?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting an area variance from the spacing requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Ms. Love.
Good morning.
It was postponed was that we wanted you to meet with the councilman and the development corporation. Has that happened?
Yes, I met with the councilman. He sent a letter in. I also have a letter, but I still haven't finished with the development corporation.
What has to be done yet?
I've been calling, I haven't been notified back.
Oh, boy. And
Hello?
who is the Development Corporation?
I messaged with Madeline Kozar.
What's the name of the Development Corporation?
For Cleveland. Right in front of me.
140, it might be Mount Pleasant, is that it?
Ms. Love, was it Mount Pleasant?
Yeah.
Who's the city council for that ward?
Kevin Bishop.
I'm Kevin Bishop.
She's already met with him. Her problem is she hasn't been able to get through to the CDC.
Who's the local planner?
Excuse me. She may be on the line with Union and Miles Development.
So is Union Miles?
I didn't hear you.
Chris, with Union and Miles Development.
Union and Miles Development. I might be calling the wrong people. Union, yeah. I'm writing this down. Union Miles Development. Okay.
Did they get sworn in?
Okay.
Who is it? Who is from Union Miles?
There's nobody here from here. She's never contacted them.
Anyone. She was giving me the information.
Okay.
Oh, but here's the homeowner at 3598 who strongly objects to a residential care facility, Phyllis Lanier.
Yeah, we addressed that last time because it's only a it's only occupy 5 people. It's like having a residential home.
Kevin Bishop, I do have the letter that he sent, yes. He's in support. I hate to move forward, to be honest with you, because the local development corporation also has input into what goes into the neighborhood.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Ms. Faith.
To Mr. Ruins, who is the city planner for this area?
Maurice?
Hold on a second. Let me check. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I can tell you in just a second. Liz, do you know? Or Shannon?
I'm thinking maybe Kim Scott.
Might be on this. Marka Field. It's right here on the
screen now.
Screen.
Okay.
Marka Fields.
Thank you. Since we postponed this case so that she could meet with City Council and the CDC, and she's not been successful in meeting with the CDC or even connecting with them, could we get Marka to facilitate this so she can we can make sure that she meets with the CDC before we try to move on this?
Madam Chair, I want to display something else that we just got from the councilman this morning.
Yes.
Let me show you this. Hold on a second. The councilman has rescinded his support for the. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yes.
He has rescinded his support for the project.
No longer in support of the variance for this group home.
That's from Kevin Bishop?
Yes.
Councilman Bishop. We've just received this morning, I believe.
Yes.
He just voted Friday. I don't know.
Madam Chair, it looks like perhaps an extension of the postponement might be justified.
Right.
Yes. She should do you send her the information on how to reach Marka Fields, Maurice, please?
I will definitely do that.
I appreciate that.
So to the appellant, we're going to give you the information to reach the city planner for the area. Contact her so that she can help facilitate meeting with the Steve, and
Councilman, yes.
we contact council before we make a move.
How about September 24th for the postponement, Ms. Kukla?
That would be just September 21st. But yes, that works for us.
Okay. Fine. Without objection, board?
Without objection.
Without objection.
Marlene?
Without objection.
Without objection.
Okay, great. And Ms. Kelly? I didn't hear.
Yeah, I said it without objection.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Slav. Maurice is sending you the information to contact the local planner.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, old business, 1, 2, 3, 4, without objection.
Kelly, without objection.
Okay.
Without objection, Tim Donovan.
Okay.
Without objection, Alana Faith.
Okay.
Without objection, Marlene Barnes.
Okay, without objection, Carol Johnson. Okay, we have requests for affirmation on Dennison Avenue. This is going to be their second affirmation. Need more time because of the pandemic. Without objection.
Without objection, Kelly.
Thank you. Without objection, Kelly. Without objection, Carol.
Without objection, Alana.
Okay. Okay, and Marlene, yes. Okay, and then we need one for Lee Avenue. Volunteers of America requesting more time due to the pandemic. Oh,
Without objection, Tim Donovan.
Without objection, Kelly.
Without objection, Alana.
Without objection, Marlene.
Okay, without objection, Johnson here. Okay, but we have a miscellaneous note, the Hartley Road sign, the councilman said he would like to request a rehearing, but have not received it yet.
Right. I haven't received anything in writing. And just this morning, I did get an email from him saying that they are going to sit down with the appellant and that they'll be good to go. So I'm going to double back and check with him to make sure that means that they're no longer requesting or that they're no longer going to request a rehearing. So I think they're working that out. I was just gonna want to ask, and I don't know if we're still on the recording. We probably should stop the recording. I wanted to ask Attorney Wagner something.
We are still recording and we're still live streaming. If you want to call the meeting, if you want to close the meeting, we can turn off the recorder and the live stream.
Yes, please.
Without objection.
Meeting
All right, hold on a second and I will stop the recorder and stop